Everyone, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily, the show where I recap live trials. Now, I've already been to the post office today, so you know what that means. Ice, coffee. Yeah, I know. And it's only Tuesday. But a very, very dear friend of mine, as we speak, is in surgery, and my thoughts are so with her. Good luck, sweetheart. I love you. You're not going to hear this because you're under anesthesia, but I can't stop thinking about her. In any case, so I'm still working on the diamond painting. This is the top part. Oh my God. Let me just show you the tippy top part that I did yesterday. So gorgeous, these colors. I mean, holy moly. This is the top part of the kitty cat. Look at those blues there. Oh my God. So beautiful. Oh, I just noticed, look, there are hidden cats all over this painting, and I just found another one right there. Oh my God, how adorable. Is that one there, maybe? No, that's just the top of a building. So this is where I'm working in here, this section right here. This is what I did all day yesterday. I did all this yesterday. Yeah, so I can't wait to see this finished. So yesterday, my friend, DP Addiction Adventures, that's her channel name, she and I are doing a Halloween event, and we picked out our painting last night. It's going to be from Rose Prophet Creations, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. It will, once we receive it in the mail, it will go up on her site. It may even go up on her site before that, but you'll be able to craft along with us if you want to order it yourself. So, well, and you know, my other event with Mickey Sunshine Creates, that's going to be August. So that's going to be before the, oh my God, so much stuff going up. All right, so in August 1st starts the Great Escape 2023. We have tons and tons and tons of sponsors for this event. This is our big event for every year. And I am so excited to say that we also got the canvas for this event from Rose Prophet. That canvas is actually on the way here. And as soon as it gets here, I'll unbox it. Mickey will unbox it. Maybe we'll unbox together. We'll do a live, oh, that'll be cool. A live unboxing, the two of us. So maybe we'll do it as a premiere. I don't know. Any case, you'll be able to order it. Once we receive it, you'll be able to, it'll go up on Rose Prophet's site and you'll be able to see it. And if you like it, you can order it. Plus there'll be 3 other options for the Great Escape. All 4 will go up for sale on her site, and you can order any or all of them. Yep. So, you know, this theme for this year, I have a theme every year. It's just something I do. It's just weird. And Mickey joins in on it with me. This year is the year of fantasy. Next year we're doing Year of the Animals, you know, cats, dogs, all those animal paintings that we've accumulated and just haven't done. Next year, we're going to get some of those done. Okay, I'm just playing along with all my stuff here. I got to pour some more diamonds in here. Now, I have a continuation of the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell commenced yesterday. Now, as you are aware, or maybe you're not aware, it's not being live streamed. Nothing is coming out of there live except the reporters who are sitting in the courtroom who come out on breaks and give us updates, or on their lunch hour they give us updates. There is no live stream. So what happens every evening, at the end of the evening, everything is recorded during the day. The whole trial is recorded, and at the end of the day, that recording is released to people who have requested it and paid for it. So I go over to East Idaho News. The guy's name is Nate Eaton. I really enjoy his commentary, and I listen to his recount of the trial. I also follow his Twitter during the day where he gives live updates. So that's where I get my information from. And then he plays the audio of each of the, you know, he separates the audio out. Here's this witness, here's this witness, here's this witness. And then he'll give you the entire day if you just want to sit and listen to the entire day. So yesterday, Monday, there were 3 witnesses that took the stand. The first witness was a DNA analyst with a private laboratory. Actually, I don't know why the light's not on. So usually DNA testimony is really boring, and this was no exception. Let me get the light on here. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to boil down a couple hours of testimony into like one little thing. This was kind of a bombshell here. They found a hair on the adhesive tape that was wrapped around JJ's body. Now, he had a lot of tape wrapped. He had a tape over his mouth. He had a hood over his head that was taped shut. Then he was in a bag, and the bag was taped shut. That's where they found the adhesive hair, on the tape that went around the bag. So what they did was they obtained DNA from Tylee Ryan, they obtained DNA from Melanie Gibb, and from Lori Vallow Daybell. All 3 blonde, because this was a blonde hair. Now, why Melanie Gibb? Because I have never been convinced that she doesn't have something to do with all this as well. She, just like Alex, was a follower. And we know that she was around the day that JJ disappeared. She was visiting with her boyfriend, now her husband. So that's why they tested her. So what they do is they collect that DNA and they use that as a known sample. So then they run the DNA from the fiber, the hair that they got off of that tape, and compare it to the 3 known samples. And it came back 1 to 750 billion to be Lori Vallow Daybell's hair. So it's her. It's her. So that kind of surprising, because we always kind of suspected that Alex killed these children and buried them. But what was going to be the tie-in for Lori and Chad later on when he has a trial? But the tie-in for Lori is this hair. This is like the smoking gun of this case. The fact that now her defense can get up and say, hey, this was tape that she had in her house. Of course it might have her hair on. Of course you might find hair on JJ's pajamas. And then it got onto the tape. She washes the pajamas with her own laundry, and the hair could get on there. And they're right. It could have got on there that way, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. No. I think this is just, the scales are starting to tip. Yeah. In favor of beyond a reasonable doubt. They are because I had some reasonable doubt. No reasonable doubt that it was Alex. None. But reasonable doubt as to tying Lori into the deaths of Tylee and JJ. So now we got it tied to JJ at least. Certainly a conspiracy. The other thing is, I'm not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that she had anything to do with Tammy's death. I haven't seen what ties her into it. Again, more on that to come, I'm sure. So one of the things they talked about next was a detective who looked at the cell phone Wi-Fi data for Alex Cox during September and October. Now, cell phone Wi-Fi data is much more detailed than cell tower data. I've never even seen a case where they brought in the actual Wi-Fi data. So this is really, really interesting. Apparently, they can, for instance, Chad's house, they could pinpoint where on Chad's property that phone was. That's how detailed it is. Not just it's pinging off of this tower, so it's in this area of Chad's house. No, it's at Chad's house in the backyard, that kind of thing. So I was really surprised to hear that there was even such a thing. But of course there is. We can't go anywhere, because every time your phone connects to a Wi-Fi while you're traveling, there's a record of that. Can you believe it? Now, I haven't listened to this guy's actual testimony. I'm going by the recaps, but I'm curious who he requested this testimony, this data from, how he got this data. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know. So here is, I'm going to go through this timeline, and it's so interesting. So the day that we believe that Tylee Ryan passed away was September 8th, going into the 9th. So on September 8th, Alex's phone is at Yellowstone National Park the entire day. And the investigator said the entire day was pretty non-eventful. Everything was at the Yellowstone Park, you know, the different sections of the park. And then after they left the park, they went to a barbecue place. And then after the barbecue place, they all drove home. Now, while they're at Yellowstone National Park, a picture is taken, and I'll put it here if I find it. And this is the last known picture of Tylee Ryan. The last, what do they call it? Proof of life for Tylee Ryan. And when this photo was shown in the courtroom, one of the spectators said that Lori Daybell said, I took that picture. So Lori was with Alex and the children at Yellowstone. I wasn't sure that she was, but she apparently was. Then after they leave the barbecue place, they go home. And they don't arrive home till later on that evening. So it's not till the morning of September 9th that Alex goes over to Alex's phone. No, we can't say that it's actually Alex, but, you know, it's Alex's phone. Goes over to Lori's apartment and he's there from 2:42 a.m. to 9:49 a.m. Now, what this detective did is he looked at all of the data for, you know, a few months before, a few months after, and at no other time had Alex ever been at her apartment at that time of day. His usual visitation time at Lori's apartment was usually between 8 p.m. and midnight, and then he would go home to his own apartment. So why was he there the morning of the 9th, the day after they went to Yellowstone Park? And that's the last time we know that Tylee Ryan was alive. Then he leaves Lori's apartment, and then he travels to Chad's property. And it places him in 3 different spots on Chad's property: near the front door, near the shed, and out near the burial site where they found Tylee's body. Now, he's there until 11:45 a.m. That's enough time to at least get all that started that they had to do. I won't go into any more detail than that. So, interestingly enough, from 11:40, he leaves at 11:45. He leaves Chad's place. We know that at 11:53, Chad sends Tammy a text message, and here it is. That morning: well, I've had an interesting morning. I felt I should burn all the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. Now, again, this is very much longer than usual text that he would send to his wife. But that morning, he's like setting the stage for why all this is going on. So that's a pretty incriminating text. If you put it together with Alex's visit that morning, he spends all that time over at Lori's, before that, hours at Lori's house. Then he goes over to Chad's. He's there at the burial site, in the shed. This is crazy, guys, just crazy. Okay, fast forward to the day that JJ died, September 22nd. That's the day the police believe that JJ Vallow died. At 4:29 p.m., or between 4:29 p.m. and 12:11 a.m., Alex is back and forth from his apartment to Lori's apartment, his apartment to Lori's apartment. This is also the day that Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend, soon-to-be husband, is visiting Lori Vallow Daybell. So from 12:11 a.m. to 9:45 a.m., Alex was at his apartment. Then the following morning at 9:41 a.m., he goes over to Chad's house. Now, he arrives at 9:55 a.m. at Chad's house, and he's there for 17 minutes near the pond area. And he doesn't leave till 10:12 a.m. And then he arrives at Lori's at 10:22, from 10:22 to 11:14. So my question is, when did JJ die? It doesn't make any, I don't know when he died. It had to be between 12:11 a.m. and 9:41 a.m. Now the thing that, remember, this is a cell phone. So did Alex go somewhere between 12:11 a.m. and 9:41 a.m. and just not take his phone? I'm leading towards that he just left his phone at his apartment, and that's when the murder of JJ Vallow occurs. That's what I'm thinking. So then on September 23rd and 25th, Alex, twice, 2 different days, goes to visit a window tinting shop. Now we know that on the morning of October 1st, Brandon Boudreaux was shot at. His window was shot out. Remember, he was married to Melanie, I don't know what she's calling herself now. She got remarried to Melanie, that was the niece of Lori and also another one of the followers. Brandon Boudreaux was thought to be possessed by a demon, and they were attempting to shoot him. He was shot at by a Jeep that had tinted windows. And when they searched that Jeep, they found receipts from a Mexican restaurant. And they also found a Chick-fil-A receipt for October 18th. Now, if you fast forward to October, we're not to October 18th quite yet, because something else happens in October. Yes, and we're going to know what Alex's involvement in that was. So we do know that on September 25th, Alex goes to the Walmart to get a track phone. He also goes on October 8th to another Walmart in Rexburg and buys another track phone, a burner phone that, you can't, nobody keeps records of phone calls or texts or anything like that. We do know that there were quite a few texts between Alex and Chad. So, but we don't know what the content of those texts would be. So October 8th is the day or October 9th, the day after he picks up the second burner phone. October 9th is the day that Tammy Daybell is shot at. When she comes home from the grocery store and she's unloading the back seat of her car, this man comes up to her in a ski mask and a gun, and the gun goes off, but nothing happened when the gun went off. It misfired or something, so he runs away. So, interesting thing, on October 9th, he visits some gun ranges, and then he also visits Sportsman's Warehouse. So what they did was, for that period of time, the 8th through the 9th, or the 9th, they go to the Sportsman's Warehouse, and they're able to pinpoint exactly where he went within Sportsman's Warehouse, which is kind of cool. So they pull all the receipts for that day, and everything that was Visa, MasterCard, check cashing card or credit card, that could be checked easily, and none of those were Alex's or anybody related to this case. But there was one transaction for cash. Someone purchased a Frog Tog rain pants, and interestingly enough, later on when they searched Lori's garage, they found a pair of Frog Tog rain pants together with some gloves and a ski mask. Okay. Immediately prior to the alleged debacle of shooting of Tammy Daybell, his phone tracks him leaving his home, going southwest, driving to Chad's house. He pulls off behind Chad's house by canal. Apparently, the road that passes Chad's house, there's nowhere to pull off on the side of the road. So if you go behind Chad's house, there's a canal and a road that he was able to park there. So when he pulled off the shooting, he could just run behind Chad's house, jump in his car, and take off. So that's where his car was at the time of the shooting, or that's where his cell phone was at the time of the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell on the 9th. So let's go to October 18th of 2019. Now, this is the day that Tammy Daybell actually dies. So from 7:58 to 9:32 p.m., an hour and a half, Alex's phone is at a Chick-fil-A near Chad's home for an hour and a half. It doesn't take you an hour and a half to eat a chicken sandwich with pickles and mayonnaise. I love their chicken sandwiches. And get an ice cream when you're done. It doesn't take that long. So was he waiting for someone to say, hey, come on over? Well, I don't know. When he leaves there, he from 10:07 to 10:45, he's at a place called Salem Church, which is 2.5 miles from Chad's residence. Then from 10:45 to 11:15, 10:45 to 11:53, nothing. No pings on his cell phone, which means he probably turned it off. Yep. Then it comes back online at 11:53, and it's traveling south on Highway 20, where he stops at the Hilton Garden Inn, and he spent the night there instead of going back to his apartment. I'm not sure why that was, but maybe he was just really freaked out by the woman he just held down with Chad and strangled. I don't know. So that is the day that happened. And Chad apparently did tell police he thought she died around midnight. Yeah. Anyway, Dr. Eric Christensen is the next person on the stand. And still on the stand because the prosecutor finished their portion of his testimony, direct examination. The cross-examination will start this morning. So Dr. Eric Christensen testified that he's done many, many thousands of autopsies, including many, many exhumations of bodies. So originally, Tammy's death was ruled to be a natural death by the coroners, who are not medical professionals, and she is buried. Well, thank God she wasn't cremated, so because she was exhumed. They exhumed her body a few months later when it became apparent that there was a little bit more to this than a natural death. They exhumed her body in November of that year, or maybe it was November the following year. I don't know. They exhumed her body, and this medical examiner did an autopsy. The autopsy showed that she died of asphyxia. That was his conclusion. He tested her system for poisons, for antifreeze, for anything you could think of that might have caused her death. Didn't find anything except the prescription drugs that she was taking. He said there were no signs of any blood pressure issues, no signs of any organ damage, no signs of any seizures. Remember, Chad had said that she had been having seizures during the past week. Apparently, you can look at the brain and tell if there's been seizures recently, and no signs of seizures. Also, there's physical signs. When someone has a seizure, they might bite their tongue or, something like that. Nothing to suggest that she had seizures anywhere. What she did have on her, and what the jury got to see, is they put a blank silhouette of a body up there and asked him to point out where all these bruises were. They were here, here, here. She had bruises all over her upper arms, both upper arms, and her upper chest, consistent with being held down. Yeah. Now, what we don't know is like the mechanism of her death. Was it a pillow? Was it, hands. Well, we don't know. But the conclusion of this medical examiner is that she died as a cause of death by asphyxia, and the manner of death was homicide. So now we're going to get the cross-examination this morning from the defense. I'm curious where they're going to go with that. Yeah. So that is the Vallow Daybell update. Looks like they're winding down. They're winding down. So there was also some interesting testimony from that same detective that went over this cell phone timeline. Apparently, Melanie, not Melanie Gibb, the other Melanie, the niece of Lori Vallow, she remarried a guy named, is it Eric? I think his name is Eric. And the night of their honeymoon, she starts telling him about all of their theories about people being possessed by demons, and he's a little freaked out. He goes to the police with all this information, and they ask him to wear a wire, and there was recorded conversations between him and his new wife that we haven't heard. So I'm anxious to see if that's going to come into the trial, because I'd love to know what she said to him. Yeah. Because there's another one of the followers of this, doomsday cult. Media is calling it the doomsday cult. And they're not wrong. They were all expecting this second coming of Christ. They were part of the 144,000 people. They needed like 143,000 more people than they had. So they had a long haul to go. All right, many more tests. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Oh, I always forget the calendar. Here it is right in front of me. Okay. Yesterday we did a lucky survivor story. Today we're going to do an unlucky one. In November of 2021, Anthony Broadwater, the man who had been convicted of raping Alice Sebold, that was from yesterday. We heard about the Alice Sebold case where she was brutally raped, and she later on recognized this suspect when she saw him on the sidewalk, and she had him arrested and convicted. And okay, so that his name was Anthony Broadwater. The man who had been convicted of raping Alice Sebold in 1981 was exonerated of all charges. What? He had spent 16 years in prison for the crime, followed by another 20 years on the sex offender registry. Broadwater's case was revisited after an executive producer on a planned movie adaptation of Lucky noticed discrepancies between the script of the book and a hired private investigator. The new investigation uncovered several ineptitudes that occurred when Broadwater was originally arrested, including Sebold failing to identify Broadwater in a police lineup, and the prosecution's case relying heavily on the now debunked practice of hair analysis. Sebold apologized for her part in the miscarriage of justice, and her publisher halted publication of Lucky, which had sold more than 1 million copies since its 1999 publication. A documentary chronicling Broadwater's wrongful conviction and eventual exoneration, entitled Unlucky, was announced to be in production. What? I got to do a deep dive here. This is a very good one for yeah, I'm going to investigate this one. This is a good true crime story here. Wow, it was the wrong guy. Oh my God. All right, guys, that is the show for the day. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget I unboxed some Temu today. Check out that video. Link is right here. If not, I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Crafting and Crime Daily. Bye, everybody.